Welcome back to the Cutty and Govy Show. We're down here in downtown Boca Raton. And I just came back from up north for Father's Day, and it's hotter up there, Govy, than down here. It's 100 degrees, New York, Philadelphia today, and it's a cool 85 degrees in South Florida. It's beautiful. How was your Father's Day?
Father's Day was great. I was supposed to go to Naples, Florida, but 20 inches of rain. I decided to stay where I was.
Like crazy, didn't
Yeah,
it?
so I stayed here in Boca. It's interesting. We're used to the heat down here, so like at 91 degrees, we're okay. But if you're up north and you're in Philadelphia and it's 96 degrees there, now you get to see why people appreciate going to the Jersey Shore. Because it's like 77 degrees. So there's a big difference between the Jersey Shore and Philadelphia.
Well, I was up there. I saw my kids, went out to dinner with them. My son came in from Brazil with his new little baby, Ava, and his wife, and that was fun. And it was my first Father's Day without my dad.
Wow.
And how many? This is your dad passed away.
This is like 4 years now.
4 years, yeah. It was really strange. As we spoke about, my father passed away Thursday.
Days in front of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
4 days before Father's Day. So, I mean, throughout my career, he wasn't involved in my business, but he was always there, and all of a sudden he's not there, and it's like kind of strange. Anyway, here we are, and we have let's jump right into this Caitlin Clark. I mean, what do you think's going on? They keep assaulting her. Look, I'm from Philadelphia originally, like you, Govy, and I believe the Broad Street bullies. When Bobby Clark used to get molested, Dave the Hammer Schultz and Hound Kelly would come out and kick somebody's ass. This is what I think if I was the coach for Caitlin Clark. I would tell her the next time somebody pushes you to the ground, next play, get up there and bust their nose with your elbow. I mean, make them bleed. Give them an elbow shot in the face. You're going to get a 6-10 game suspension, but they need you because you're the cash cow of the league. But you got to break somebody's nose here.
I hear what you're saying, but I think it's a little more complicated than that. I think in this situation, I think the league should send a representative out to all the teams, and they need to have a sit down, and they need to explain. And I don't want to get into men and women's mindset, but I think they need to explain to the women that this is a golden opportunity. We lose money every year, and again, everybody else, the average attendance is 4,300, 5,000 people. She's selling out 17,000 seat arenas. They all come from her. From every away arena comes to see her. They have to explain that in her first day being a pro, they all went from commercial coach seats to charter flights. It's like when Tiger Woods came over. Their life will only get better. Why not protect the golden goose? I mean,
Well,
is it because it's
isn't that
racist? Is it racist?
Is it the coach's responsibility to sit the players down and say, look, I'm going to bench you, I'm going to suspend you, you're not going to play? I think the coach is enabling this. I don't think if you're coaching a team, if you're coaching a football team and your player continues to get penalties or gets in a fight and you have a 15-yard penalty, doesn't the coach, isn't the coach in charge? Why aren't the coaches of the other team saying you can't assault this woman?
I don't think this is a coach's thing. I think this has to come from the commissioner, vice commissioner, whoever it is has to say, I'm going to have a sit down. This is going to be
why aren't they suspending players? Why aren't they fining players?
Because I think that they have to learn that this is a business class. So pretend they're in college. This is business 101. And you have to explain to them. Say, listen, you know how Brittany Grenier was arrested in Russia because she took a little bit of weed over there? Well, she had to play in Russia because she wasn't making enough money in the WNBA. If you girls don't want to play 12 months a year going into other things and you want to make more money here and get endorsements, take care of Caitlin Clark. Life will be easier for you. Now, If it's a racial thing, which I'm not saying it is, but if
I
it
don't get
is,
the
that's a
racial
whole
part.
nother. That's another issue. If it's also a besides racial, if it's something where 75% of the WNBA are lesbians. So if it's an LGBTQ thing because she's straight, that's another problem. But someone economically has to explain to them, life is good with Caitlin Clark. Take care of her, and she takes care of you. It would be like Fuzzy Zoeller when he made fun
Well,
of...
let's talk about that. Bryson DeChambeau, who won the U.S. Open this week, he plays on the competing tour, the Live Tour.
Yes.
And now, all of a sudden, Bryson DeChambeau is all over. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He's at Trump's golf course in New York.
He's likable. He's relatable. He's likable.
But now the PGA has egg all over their face because they've banished this guy. Who was that announcer? I can't pronounce. Yeah, Chambly. I can't pronounce his name.
He couldn't stand the guy.
He was so unfair to the guy. I mean, it was almost like a Caitlin Clark assault. No matter what shot this guy... Oh, he can't hit the shot.
If you got to see a live shot, usually if he wasn't in the final group, they don't even show his shots live because he's a live player. And they think that will hurt the PGA Tour. So they don't even show you his live shots. Only this week, because he was in the last group, you got to see his live shots. They were cheering so hard against him. Like when Rory was coming back, this guy had he got so excited, it was unbelievable.
And then Chambly, Chambly barely gave him any. When he walked up, did you see him walk up to that child after he won? He took the time to hug that kid in the wheelchair and everything.
Well, no, that was during it. That was on the 14th hole. He was leading. That was the kid that looked like Stephen Hawking.
Right. The announcer Chambly should have said, "Wow." I mean, in the middle of this fight, can you believe the guy's composure that he's
giving him a high five, taking his hand and clenching it because the guy's hand was like I said, like Stephen Hawking. But yeah, and you want to know the other thing that's crazy? He did things where he's great for the sport again. But I'm going to give you another thing. Caitlin Clark, she's not on the Olympic team. She took it.
Bryson DeChambeau not on the
Bryson DeChambeau was not on the Olympic team.
That unbelievable?
And that's because the PGA Tour gets to choose who's on the Olympics, who's not. To me, I would like to know who is in charge of the U.S. Olympic Committee. They should be able to choose the 4 golfers that they want. I mean, how can you not have Bryson DeChambeau on there? The only reason why he's not on there is because it would be a plug for Live and not the PGA Tour.
But I don't understand. I thought there was a pending merger. I mean, why it's the Olympics, there's a pending merger. What are they doing here? And you know what? He was a gentleman in his news conference, everything. They asked him all those tough questions. And his answers were great. He said, look, I don't pick the Olympic team. I tried my best. I think I would be an asset to that team, but they didn't pick me.
Well, it is a little easier when you know that the other tour gave you $200 million to switch tours, and they explained to you before you switched you will not be making the Olympics.
Right.
So yeah, it was like for $200 million, you're like, okay, I'll give up the Olympics. But now that it's here, you know what's good for the country, and they can't hold this guy down because he's different than anybody else. First of all, he's the only golfer that his pitching wedge is the same length as his driver.
Right, every club's the same.
Every club's the same.
His putter's the same.
He takes his combos, puts them in baking soda to see that
Right.
I mean, this guy is a little out there, and he's great. The other thing they showed you is...
By the way, if you want to go to our reels, we're on Instagram. We have lots of reels going up.
Oh, we have a reel with Bryson DeChambeau playing Cutty's son...
Cutty Jr.
Yeah, Cutty's Jr.
And the president.
Right, and the president. Cutty's Jr. won the club championship, and Bryson was there with his trophy of the U.S. Open.
Check that reel out,
folks. And the Trump trophy. It was really it was really kind of cool. But, you have a situation here where everybody was putting down Bryson DeChambeau. But what's really nice is, 2 weeks earlier, they had the PGA major.
Right.
And it just so happens that this guy, Schauffele, wins,
spelled with an X.
Yeah, Alexander Schauffele. He wins the PGA, but as he won, Bryson DeChambeau was leading the tournament. He was on the practice tee, and he's looking at the big scoreboard, and he got to see Schauffele make birdie on the 18th hole. And with that, Bryson DeChambeau lost the PGA. He came in second. The first thing he did is he walked off the practice green. He walked up to Schauffele, who was walking off the 18th green with the PGA Wanamaker Trophy, and he shook his hand. Rory McIlroy was in the scorecard room. He was watching Bryson DeChambeau go up and down for par. And you know what he did? He got in his car and sped away. Never, congratulate him. And he happens to be a class guy, Rory McIlroy. I like him a lot. So,
They say that was a tough 3-foot putt, though. It was down.
It was, and you know what?
Curved like a lot.
I mean, this guy, if you put yourself in this guy's...
Yeah, he's devastated.
It was the most devastating loss that you could do, that he choked after 11 years.
So in your opinion, Govy, do you think he's ruined for life? Does he have the yips
No.
in his brain?
No,
the next time he has a 3-foot putt to win, is he just messed up?
No, I think there was a lot going on. 3 days before the U.S. Open, he has to tell the world that he's taking his wife back after going through a divorce.
And you saw Amanda Bolenis, whatever, wasn't at the U.S. Open.
Well, different network, but I mean, there was rumors floating. There was stuff going on. There was something with his child is one reason why they settled, because I think his wife said you would get the custody and the other. I don't know if he's happy, not happy going back, but I got to tell you something. When you're playing a golf tournament in a major, a little distraction, just a little distraction. I know in tennis, you could go from the top 5 in the world down to 110.
But I'm going to take the other side of that, because he couldn't have been too distracted. I mean, it was a tough course, and he was he was leading the tournament.
He has natural ability. All of a sudden, when it came down to the last, I mean, this guy was a machine. What did he do? Bogey 3 out of the last 4 holes?
Yeah, he choked.
Yeah.
He was thinking of Amanda Bolenis.
I think he was thinking about, oh my God, I already said we're not getting a divorce, and this $4 million prize is now 50-50. He could have kept it off and said she got nothing. So maybe he was thinking, it's 50-50. And also, let me ask you a question. Anytime someone is in a tournament and they are winning, you know how they always have the wife that's...
Yeah, on the green.
Because it's a life changer for them,
right.
too. They're thinking to themselves, Birkin bag, Chanel bag,
right.
car. I mean, it's like, this is a life changer. His wife wasn't there.
Right.
So she didn't know, like...
Either was Amanda Bolenis.
Well, a different network. But the wife, had a whole day to get to where this was. For some reason, she didn't want the attention that, all of a sudden she's going to run up and give him a kiss. Or then if she's not there, it's kind of crazy.
I understand.
And why did he drive by himself? Why did he get in his car and drive home by himself? Doesn't someone have, if you just saw someone, they're not in the right frame of mind getting in the car, you're thinking of these putts. Don't you think it would have been nice to have someone say, Rory, I'll drive you?
Yeah, where was his caddy? Why wasn't his caddy driving?
I don't know. You're letting a person get into a car. So I think it's a little crazy. I think I want to know how much money Bryson DeChambeau gets as a gift from Live Tour, because... And by the way, just to let you know, they don't wear Nike clothes anymore or anything. He was repping his own team's thing, Crusher. Did you see his logo?
Yeah, and his hat.
Oh, they're sold out on everything.
Oh, is Fanatics doing that? Maybe Fanatics.
No, I think he's making his own. But I'm getting he's signing the flag for me. I bought a flag. He's going to sign it, and they signed the Wingfoot one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's because shout out to Jeff Falkoff and his son Brett Falkoff for making all that happen. Thank you.
Well, Brett Falkoff's going to be making some serious dough, because Bryson's going to be doing endorsements everywhere. Maybe D. Bethune watches.
Let me tell you something.
What do you think?
No, I would love him to do D. Bethune watches. I got my guy Tommy Paul, who won today, who was doing great with D. Bethune, and so is Jess Pagula.
What would he want from you to do an endorsement for a watch company?
Rolex he's with Rolex.
Oh, he's Rolex.
But I got to tell you something. Brett Falkoff almost had the most amazing week. He also reps Lexi Thompson.
Yeah.
I mean, that was in overtime.
Yeah.
He could have had back-to-back winners the same week, the same thing. So I think that's a really pretty neat thing. But talking about people in sports. Let's talk about Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, former coach, Super Bowl coach. How many does he have?
Seven.
Seven. He's got 7 Super Bowl rings.
Okay, now
Coach Tom Brady.
Okay, now you gotta remember, divorces his wife, who was roughly his age, 72 years old, and he had a girlfriend for the last 10 years, 11 years, who was 48 years old.
Hot.
Good-looking girl, really good-looking. She's 48 years old. He's 72 years old.
Now,
11 years they put in.
Let's do a little foundation. He might be the greatest coach of all times.
He could be
Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. There's about 5 in there.
But now
3, 4.
he goes up to his 48-year-old girlfriend, who's almost half his age, and says, "I got to go younger." And his girlfriend said, "Well, how much younger?" And he said, "Half." Now he's going out with a 24-year-old whose father is 25 years younger than him. I'm not talking a little bit of I mean, the father is...
So, Govy, is he a winner or a loser? I mean, you have winners, you have losers.
He's on the borderline of being... Is he sick or is he not sick? You know, I'm not here to judge because... Like, let me ask you a question. What do you think's worse? Do you think it's... If you went up to most men and you said that are 74 years old... You can be with a 24-year-old. They all are having their imaginations are running wild of like, wow, back to a 24-year-old. Even though that is pretty sick. You know, it's like, you know, she's only, 40 years younger than his daughter. But then you got to sit there and say, how disgusting is it for a 24-year-old to be with a 72-year-old? Why is she with someone 25 years older than her dad?
So I'm getting
What's worse?
I'm getting a sense that you have a problem with this.
I
don't have a problem.
If he wasn't Bill Belichick,
yeah,
I would think this guy's sick.
Really?
If he wasn't Bill Belichick, I would think it's not natural.
He's dating a cheerleader. It has something.
Not a cheerleader like the NFL cheerleader, a professional cheerleader that does those. You flip them up in the air, 22.
Has something that they have some commonality. Cheerleading, football. They have something to talk about.
Well, the NFL cheerleader makes more money on the side because of endorsement deals, and these cheerleaders, I don't know what they make. But
well, I don't think Bill Belichick's getting married to her, nor is he going to have kids with her. He's just having a little fun. He can open a lot of doors for her. Maybe she'll become a supermodel or whatever because he is Bill Belichick. I mean, I think they're going to.
Well, he's out of a job right now. How's it working for him? Well, he was with her. By the way, he split up with his girl because of this girl.
He's working. Don't you think he's going to do some announcing? Well, he doesn't talk. He's not a big talker.
By the way, he has to address this situation because he hasn't even addressed it publicly yet.
Why does he have to address it? He doesn't work for a team.
Shannon Sharp came out and said he was like, "Listen, I'm not judging it." I mean, he has players, by the way, that played for him that are 55 years old. They're looking at him like, I mean, this was their boss.
Did you see what Shannon Sharp said about his watch?
Yeah, I know where Shannon Sharp got his watch.
So he has this watch, and he's talking, I don't know, to somebody on a podcast, and he said, your watch tells time. My watch tells me how valuable my time is.
That's right. And I just
I'm more Piguet, right?
Shout out to G Money, who Shannon is one of his clients. So
all right, client of Govy here.
So,
but anyway, so we have some winners this week. Govy, Elon Musk got a $60 billion bonus.
We were talking. That's you know what? Months ago, you said that if they gave him he said, listen, this is what I'm going to do for you. And he lived up to his contract, even though it's $60 billion.
So
and you said he's entitled to it.
I think he's entitled to it.
And I agree with you.
He made a deal way before Tesla was insane. If I said to you right now, Govy, I'll give you $50 million bonus if at some point this podcast has 15 million listeners. Right now, we don't have anywhere near that. And in 5 years, you've accomplished that goal. Why shouldn't you be entitled to that bonus? All that stuff all the markers that they gave him to produce were long before Tesla even had a dream of it. And they said you get $60 billion.
I agree with you. I don't know why they made a big deal. I don't know why. Like they made
it dilutes all the other shareholders.
But they knew that going in. It's not like they should be happy that he achieved his goal, because they knew that if he achieved his goal, they're making money.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like an underhanded thing. Like, okay, go make your thing. The guy hustles, works his butt off, and turns around and says, not so fast. We found a technicality because of the Delaware. It was
in Delaware.
Meanwhile, he's moving everything to Texas right now.
Which is smart, tax-free state like Florida. So now another winner, and I sent you the article out of the New York Post. New York City police officers, some of them are making close to $400,000 a year.
$250,000 in overtime, though.
Okay,
so
still.
Who's in charge of that? Come on. I mean, if they ever looked into it, you know what always comes out? You know what always comes out? It'll show that they're working 35 hours a day. Like they'll come out and they'll know that it's impossible. It's literally impossible for them to make this type of money. But somebody is doing it where there's a lot. I mean,
and know the overtime's bullshit. They're sitting in a coffee shop, having coffee, or they're doing some.
It could be working a parade.
Right, but by the same token, they are a New York City cop. Based upon what I saw in Philly this weekend,
they're underpaid.
I have a question. In Philly, I stayed at the Four Seasons, and I'm just curious. When you go to a hotel, a fine hotel, suitable for a podcast superstar, the toilet paper roll, you either get the paper coming across the top when you pull the toilet paper, or coming from the bottom. What is your preference?
I like to see that triangle because they fold it. I like to see the triangle over the top. I like the triangle over the top. I'm with you.
But
because on the bottom, if you pull it, can just keep going and going.
Exactly. And at the Four Seasons, it's off of the bottom. But it's in this fancy case that I couldn't get apart to flip the roll around. So I had to deal with it for 5 days. It was brutal. All right, Govy.
Wait, though. When you were in Philadelphia, and you were at the Four Seasons, and you're on the 60th floor, and you're up in the sky there, did you realize that you have a shithole city below you?
Boy, I'll tell you, I raised my kids in Philly. I've been down here for a bunch of years now. I haven't really spent time. The reason I was staying at the Four Seasons, I'm out in the suburbs because, I wanted to be in the city, and I haven't spent much time in Center City. And I was shocked. Retail is horrible. Everywhere you go, there's vacant stores. I guess they didn't recover from COVID. And the fancy park, Rittenhouse Square, there's people literally sleeping on the benches. And the benches are built with this thing in the middle.
The bar. Only half so you can't lie down. They're trying to discourage you from right.
And it was gross.
And they scrunched up in a little ball, so they take out, so there's nowhere to sit. But as you said it best, what did you say about the homeless there compared to Boca Raton?
Well, in Boca Raton, the homeless are poor. In Philadelphia, the homeless are ruthless and mean and killers. Right. Here, they're just poor.
Right. They're killers. In
Philadelphia, they'll kill you.
Right. I mean,
they will kill you.
When you walk past the homeless in Philadelphia, which they're everywhere, by the way, doesn't make a difference. You have to when you pass one, you have to be careful that the guy doesn't have a knife behind you and he's about to come up and stab you in the back. In Boca Raton, it's like, they're saying, have a nice day. they're
Or they don't even bother you. In Boca
Or they say hello
Raton, they're not as in Philadelphia. They are very aggressive. They're outside of every store. So when you walk out of, let's say, a 7-Eleven, Wawa, or whatever, they are standing there, assuming you're putting your money away or doing something like that. They haven't caught on to the fact that now everybody has Apple on their phone, or they haven't charged. They're not spending money.
But part of the thing that's crazy is, if you're in the bubble, if you're in Philadelphia, you really don't realize how your life has changed. Like walking across the park used to be no big deal. Now you have to think that you can't walk across the park. It's like your way of living has changed, where, like I said, I watched the homeless guy, buck naked, walk into Starbucks. Someone opened the door for him. He ordered coffee. 4 minutes later, the naked man comes out with coffee. Now, seriously, could you imagine you're standing in line with the guy naked? He's ordering his coffee. Nate the naked man, and they put the thing on the thing, and he walks out with his coffee. Can it be that normal? Can it get to a point where you're just like, oh, that's the naked guy? I mean, how can it be that normal?
It can't be, but it just seems like day and night are almost the same up there. One thing that was remarkable to me was how few people were in Center City. Now, look, it's the summer. Maybe a lot of people are down at the Jersey Shore. I don't know, but it's not like a bustling city like it used to be.
Do you think that the offices by people working remotely?
Absolutely.
Big difference?
Huge. In every office building that has retail on the first floor, all those places are closed. In other words, every office building had like a big deli or sandwich shop on the first floor, that was open to the street. They're all closed. Marathon, I don't want to say company's name. There were a lot of great restaurants that are out, no longer in business.
They made a living off of the office.
They didn't survive 2 years of COVID, and then nobody came back to work. But it's kind of crazy. You see these homeless tents everywhere, and the police don't even try and discourage it. There's too many of them.
Right.
It's like rats in an exterminator. I mean, they don't even try. So it was quite an experience, and I enjoyed walking around the city during the day. At night, not so much.
So I got another one, and tell me if he's a winner or a loser. Fannie Willis's guy Wade.
Lover boy.
Tell me, is he a winner or a loser? Because he seems like he thinks he's a winner. I mean, he's going on these talk shows and he thinks he's a winner. But he was on, whose show was he on? He was on.
Yeah, he was on some comedian show. But he has like some kind of problem with Fannie now. Fannie doesn't like him anymore
because she's embarrassed that this guy's going around the shows. And if you guys can watch it, you just put in Lover Boy on the thing, you'll get to see
Nathan Wade. What's his name?
Yeah, Nathan Wade. And this comedian, just when he was talking about that he's in a bad position, and this guy said, "Well, what positions?"
And then he shows all the positions. He's doggy style position, every position.
I mean, it's crazy.
But he was wearing another $5,000 suit on that show. This guy for $140,000 a year drives a Porsche, wears $5,000 suits. He looks great.
Yeah, so that's one case that's going. But let me ask you: you got Trump coming up here.
So we have a $10,000 bet. I won the first one.
You did.
Now this $10,000 bet, I have a bet with Govy here. I say there will not be a debate, and I want to clarify that. I want my bet. It's up to you, Govy. I'll take the bet anyway. I'll take my $10,000 bet, but I want it that Joe Biden has to complete the debate.
No.
He can't just show up for 2 minutes and walk off the stage in a huff. Because if he shows up, I still say he's not there all 90 minutes. What happens
if all of a sudden Joe Biden gets a cramp, he has to go to the bathroom? He has to stand for an hour and a half.
So you're not willing to extend the bet? Give me a little courtesy.
This guy, they could have a little thing in his ear. Time, fake a cramp. It's time to fake a cramp. And the guy walks off 45 minutes later and they apologize and they say, Joe had a little upset stomach,
All right, I'll still take the bet. Joe doesn't show. There's an excuse. First of all, Donald Trump may not show because he has this gag order. He can't even talk. Can you believe they still have this gag order on the
It's
guy?
unbelievable. But you know what? I got to ask you. In Camp David right now, they're prepping. Joe Biden has a debate prep team.
Right.
What do you think's going through their mind
They're
as
like,
he's
what the fuck? How are we going to get out
as
of
he's
this?
practicing? He's not nailing the first take. So the first thing is the first practice, and they're saying, Joe, do this, and all of a sudden Joe starts staring, and they're like, Joe, the debate began 5 minutes ago. I mean, what? They have to be nervous. I mean, you have whatchamacallit.
Well, let's kind of role play. Ask me a question. I'll act like Joe Biden. Ask me a question about Israel or something, and I'll give you an answer.
I would say,
any question about Israel. Benjamin, do you like Ben?
Joe, why did you get involved with telling Netanyahu on what to do?
Abortion. Ask me another question.
I'll ask you another question. Do you know where the money is being spent in Ukraine directly?
You're a felon. You're a felon. You're a felon.
Okay. Joe, these executive orders to close the border, they're not working. What's next? What are you going to do next?
Stormy Daniels. This is how he's going to answer every question.
And by the way, he's not allowed to butt in because they...
No, Trump has a gag order. He can't say...
No, they have the mic. They can close it when it's not your turn. So Trump just has to sit there and wait until the thing comes through.
Well, it's almost like it's going to be an unfair fight because
well,
Jake Tapper
and CNN, which is probably
and Dana Bash.
And by the way, the last election that they had when it was Donna Brazil, she gave the questions to the person in the debate beforehand.
Well, it's going to be...
I mean, that's unbelievable to be able to do that.
It's going to be like the Trump trial, where it's just going to be a one-sided deal, and they're going to ask Donald Trump the most inappropriate questions that are going to be so embarrassing for him to answer, and they're going to ask Joe Biden some softballs.
Do you think they have an electric shock on Joe Biden's testicles that anytime he says something that's like that he's going off thing, they give him a little shock just to bring Joe?
Do you think they're going to say to Joe, your son Hunter was convicted. What do you think of that? He had you're anti-gun. He had a gun. He was on drugs.
I don't know if you want to bring up the past because Donald Trump could say, Joe, the last debate we had, you said you had no knowledge of your son's business dealings. You also said the computer was misinformation. You also said that there were 51...
Come on, boy. What did you say at the last debate?
Yeah, 50...
Come on, brother. What are you talking about?
Right, 51 CIA people. You said that they all wrote a letter saying that it was misinformation. Well, now the computer's real. So now... Do you want to tell the American people that you were involved in Hunter Biden's business? And what does he say to that?
Well,
Donald Trump could ask that question. What do you want to say?
He's a degenerate, compulsive liar. So, I mean, he can lie with a straight face and just say, I wasn't involved in his business, and my information was the laptop's not real, and Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, will get on TV and say the clips that you're seeing are manipulated.
How do you feel about that? With the media. In China and in Russia.
Well, I'm going to kind of take Joe Biden's side on that. And because it happens to Trump, too. So, folks, what we're talking about is the Democratic spin now is that Joe Biden is not semi-unconscious, walking around, as a blittering idiot. That the media or the Republicans are prompting false videotapes. And this is how I feel. None of those videotapes are the whole story. It's a clip, a second or a 2-second thing. Like when he was at that parachute day over at D-Day or wherever the hell it was, right, and he was looking in the other direction. Well, they're saying, well, you didn't see before there was a parachute guy over there.
Well, we did, but we also saw
the
Italian prime minister sit there and have to bring him back, and then everybody else shuffled off to the end. Do you remember the way the Mary Tyler Moore show ended?
Yeah.
When with Lou Grant and they all shuffled together?
Yeah.
Well, you took 8 people, world leaders, they all had to shuffle to him because he was in left field. I think that like North Korea, China, the Soviet Union, their media is completely controlled. I think that the media right now should be ashamed of themselves, that they are literally going to... These are unedited videos. You could decide for yourself. If they're so telling you that he's like a tiger and that he's like sharp, why not release the audio tapes that Inspector Orr said that, by the way, we can't find him guilty because he's like basically...
So why don't you think they're releasing those tapes?
Because I think he is in La La Land. And I think that if the general population saw Joe Biden during these tapes, he would lose the election.
So then why isn't some scumbag personal injury type attorney, or class action lawsuit attorney suing the press and doing depositions, saying...
They'll come out after the election.
No, but why aren't they suing Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, and saying, look, you're a liar. You spend the entire day with the guy. You know he's a blithering idiot. You're lying to the American people.
They
We're
run
going
on
to sue you.
They run on this misinformation. Don't you remember?
But why isn't a lawyer suing the government to get a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the Americans?
Didn't he, when he first took office, he hired someone that was the misinformation czar? Remember?
Yeah.
Like because they were worried.
Right.
They were worried about this. So I mean, that's a problem in itself that that they had. Like they know what they have to do. I mean, it's really sad that the covering up that they have to do, that the country can't see who you're voting for. And by the way, who's running the country now? So if you are voting for Biden, shouldn't you know who's running the country?
There's just no way the guy can.
You think he's calling Zelensky every day?
I don't think he's showing up for this debate. There's going to be a reason.
He's showing up.
Trump may bail out because of the gag order. I mean, New York appeals court just turned down his request to have the gag order from the trial a month ago. It's still on there.
I'm going to say something that I think that's going to be really interesting about this country.
Okay.
I think everybody's going to get like a little bit of a political science education here that they never thought about. And a lot of people that think they are up to date on the politics of the United States, they're going to learn that, the Democratic Party has superdelegates that the Republicans don't have. And these superdelegates have more power than a regular delegate. Joe Biden has the power to take his delegates and hand them to anybody he wants.
To Govy?
He could give them to you.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, you could have enough delegates to be the...
Can I pick a new vice president, or do I have to take Kamala?
You can pick a new vice president.
Wow.
So, I mean, the reason why this debate is June, the earliest ever, is if the guy shits the bed, if he does shit the bed, literally, then they have a chance to say, who we going with? And they're going to go up to Kamala Harris. They're going to say, Kamala, it's not you because you're less favorable than Biden in the polls. What we're going to do is we're going to make you president. Joe is going to step down in August, and you're going to finish out his term August till January. You will be the first president, female president in the United States. But we're going to go with Whitmer. And we're going to choose a vice president for Whitmer, and that's going to be the ticket. And she's going to be probably the ticket.
But let's go back to our bet.
Because it's Michigan.
Okay, I hear all your theories, and I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing something's going to happen at this convention. Maybe something happens before the convention. I don't know. But realistically, in the last week, we saw him the other day on TV where he couldn't with the Borders. Mayorkas, where
couldn't say his name.
Yeah, he in his train of thought. How is he going to debate a guy? I mean, did you watch the last debate? They're showing all these clips with Trump and him in the last.
I know.
He's a different person.
The guy who created 5 Hour Energy. This guy is like super wealthy. I think he bought like a sports team, like maybe Manchester United.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is huge. Whatever they're giving Joe Biden, if it's like 5-hour energies, somebody's going to give him something. There is no way they're going to send him out there just what you see on TV. He's going to come out like it was the State of the Union. So I would like to know what they are giving him.
But the difference between this...
My dad would have liked that.
Yeah, my dad too. But the difference between... This is why I'm putting my money on the line. The difference between this and the State of the Union, he has teleprompters, he has a podium in front of him, he has a script. Here, there is no script.
There's no earpiece in his ear, nothing.
Nothing. Did he have that State of the Union? Did he have an earpiece? He could have had an earpiece in his ear.
Yeah, he might have. You might not know.
You would have known. But here, there is no script. There is no podium. There is no teleprompter. He's on his own, man.
He could. He gets. He has a temper. Joe Biden has a temper. You see him yelling at...
Worse than mine?
But you see him, like, walking off and snapping at some of these people. There's a chance that Donald Trump says something in there, brings up Hunter, gives him a little shot back, that Joe Biden can say, I'm not going to lower myself to deal with this guy. His character, it's beneath me. I can't take it. And he rips off his microphone and walks out.
Give me.
Now, what's that? Your money back? Now you want to know
$5,000. If that happens, I only owe you $5,000.
That's the deal. Because that could happen. Because that could happen.
I think that happens.
He could just say afterwards. Yeah. He could say, you know what?
You're an asshole. I'm done.
I'm not going to lower myself to this thing. See you later. After like 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Okay.
That could happen.
I'm willing to bet you.
And then MSNBC and CNN, they all will sit there and say, he was entitled to do that.
Well, because I think Donald Trump, if he attacks his son, that'll give him the right to rip his mic off and walk off the stage. If Donald Trump says, me a felon, your son's a felon, you this and that, and Joe Biden will get indignant, like you just said, get mad and angry, and maybe Trump adds a little more to it, and he rips his mic off.
Listen, like I said, there could be a little zapper on his testicles that they sit in behind the room, and when you get zapped, that means you're allowed to leave. Like, they can give him a signal. Yeah. They can give him a signal to say, Joe, you got permission. Walk off the stage now, and we got your back. MSNBC, ABC, CBS, we got your back.
So are we in agreement it doesn't go the full distance, full 90 minutes? It can't. If he shows up, how's it go 90 minutes?
I don't think it goes 90 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
All right. I don't think he could stand 90 minutes. Like, if you said to me, can he stand there for 90 minutes? I'm not sure.
Can we make a prop bet? Does he wear a diaper?
Yes. Yeah, there's 100% he's wearing. He's not. Let me tell you something.
Are there prop bets on, does he have, shots?
He hasn't gone commando in 30 years. So there's no way he's going commando. That's for sure. I'll give you that. So, yes, he's wearing Depends right now.
All right, Govy, we're all going to watch this.
I mean, it's, but by the way, it's going to be the most watched television show.
Bigger than the Super Bowl.
Bigger than the Super Bowl. And it's because people are looking at this like it's a UFC fight. They want to see a tap out. They're looking. They want to see a tap out. It doesn't make a difference how. You want to see something.
It should be a pay-per-view. It could be.
It's the Roman Coliseum. They want to see Caesar give the thumbs up, thumbs down. They want to see what happens. I mean, there's going to be some fallout from this thing.
It's going to be unbelievable, the questions to Trump. I just can't wait to see how one-sided these questions are. Anyway, Govy, we're coming. This show went so incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? We're 45 minutes in already. I could do another 45 minutes. That would be an hour and a half like Joe Biden.
It would be. I just wanted to say one thing that a lot of people are underestimating. Donald Trump, in 2020, he basically... he knew certain states not to go to. New York, California, it was a waste of time for him. Even Philadelphia, in a way, not state, but he would go to Pennsylvania. He's going right into Philadelphia, New York, California. This guy thinks he can win it. He's not that far behind in New York.
Do you know what my theory is why he's doing it? Because July 11th, he's getting house arrest for 6 months, and he will not be able to campaign. I say Judge Mershon sentences him to 6 months house arrest. Take him off the campaign trail. So Donald Trump's going everywhere now, doing like a rat, running everywhere, because he's not going to be able to campaign after July 11th. I mean, just think about this gag order. It's so unconstitutional. The man is running for president. They still have a gag order on him. He already has been convicted.
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre.
By the way, that is something that right before the convention, that if they decide that they're going to put him in jail, house arrest,
not jail. You go to Mar-a-Lago for 6 months, you can't leave. And then they show pictures of his $18 million house in Mar-a-Lago or whatever that Mershon said it, or the other judge said it was worth. And they say, how tough is this? He gets to be on the ocean, and he's living.
But you know what's going to be interesting? Garland, who's going to make sure he goes to jail, is in contempt of court himself.
But the DOJ's not going to press charges
yeah,
against
but
him.
I'm saying, so it's almost like the guy who's in contempt is telling this guy.
Are we in agreement? You think he's getting house arrest?
No, I say he's not. That would take the biggest balls I've ever seen.
This guy's got him.
No way.
He still has the gag order on.
That's okay. He's being tough. There's no way he's doing it. I think there'll be major repercussions.
Well, let's see if I have $10,000 left after the last bet.
I think there'd be major repercussions.
Maybe it'll be another bet. I don't know.
But I got to tell you, I would like to, you're seeing him go to all these different places. When Juneteenth came there's a lot of people that don't, there's a lot of white people that don't know what to do on this holiday. They're not educated.
Well, they don't know not to go to work. The post office,
but they don't know
closed.
to say. They don't know to say Happy Juneteenth to black people. Like they don't know. It's like, do you not say anything? Do you say something? Like they don't know how to be. Like, is it is it a celebration day?
It's a national holiday. It's huge. It's a huge holiday.
I did see that there were some African Americans, they were upset.
So, as I understand the definition of Juneteenth, it's the last day that the slaves were free.
In Texas, that they were told that you're free. Otherwise, they didn't know that the war was even over.
Right. And
so it's a celebration.
It's a celebration day for the first day of freedom.
But there's a lot of African Americans right now who are now not happy that it's a federal holiday because a lot of them are working still.
I know, I saw that.
And now
you can't please everybody.
But they're looking at their boss maybe who is white, who's off.
Yeah.
So now their boss is off and they're working on their day. It's like,
I worked on Juneteenth.
Me too.
So, all right, Gabby, look, we have a lot. Next week's going to be fun. So one of us is going to have a check in their hands, and it's going to be for $10,000 or $5,000.
And last thing. NVIDIA has now passed Microsoft.
Oh my God!
Microsoft and Apple as the number one company out there.
My God, Gavi told me to buy it 800 points ago. I didn't buy it,
but you finally did.
I finally did, but I mean, the party's over. It's not like it's you had the big run.
It pays our broadcast.
Yeah, it pays our. All right, folks.
All right, we'll talk
to you.
See you later.
Take care.